time to get into these NBA factor fictions because, you know, if we're bold with these Joe Burrow picks, you know, boom, bust, I think we're about to get bolder over here.
Absolutely. So, for me, factor fiction is it's what it says in the name. Like, do we think this is gonna happen or do we not? These are kind of like both predictions, but there's a high chance of some of these things happening, and we'll just have to find out what everyone thinks. So the first one I made is Giannis Antetokounmpo will not be a Milwaukee Buck next year in the
Ooh.
2020 to 21 NBA season.
Ooh.
Now, obviously, we're stuck in the 2019 season, but next season, I'm saying this offseason, he will not. He will be on the move. Now, for me, I think this is definitely going to happen, but not because Giannis will leave the Bucks, but because a team will put together an irresistible trade package. So for me, I actually think the Warriors rumors are very, very, very important to look at, and I actually think a potential trade package with Andrew Wiggins and a few first-round picks could easily get the job done, and they bring in Giannis.
You're sure
Pretty
about that? I
bold.
mean, like, sure, yeah. I mean, Andrew Wiggins, yeah. But, like, he's not Michael Jordan. Like, he has not performed. He started off well with the Warriors, but then his shooting percentages went back to what they were with Minnesota. And then no matter how many first-round picks you throw in, I mean, this is Giannis we're talking about. Giannis.
Yeah, so for me,
Face of,
I did make a
yeah.
trade package here. I actually wrote one down. So I actually have Wiggins, a top 5 unprotected pick, which is what the Warriors will very likely get, a top 3 protected pick in 2020. These are two 2020 picks. The top 3 protected is from Minnesota. So if Minnesota does get top 3 in the draft, no, that pick isn't there. So
The 2021 pick,
then
right?
2021 unprotected first. And then, this is very important, I put a 2022 lottery protected pick. Now, the lottery protected pick means that in 2022, if the Warriors do not make the playoffs, which with Giannis they should, that pick is back to the Warriors and they can rebuild. But I think this is a very fair trade because the Milwaukee Bucks will get 4 first-round picks and Andrew Wiggins, who still has time to develop. And I
So
think
here's the thing, like I'm hearing this trade package and I think like, you know, it sounds kind of, you know, okay, but here's the thing. I've been seeing rumors that if they want Giannis, like if the Warriors want Giannis, they have to include Klay Thompson in that trade. And I don't know if the Warriors are ready to part ways with that type of backcourt, with Steph and Klay. But the thing is that you do bring up really good points because that's a very valuable trade. But what you're leaving out is that that's a trade that's being built for the future. They have guys like Chris Middleton. They have Eric Bledsoe, who's a decent point guard in the league. But I feel like the Bucks are still up there in the top 5 in the Eastern Conference. Even without Giannis, hypothetically, they are going to get a big time trade. So they're still going to be ranked among the top teams in the East. So I feel like they're going to be in a more win now mode rather than going into rebuild mode.
Oh yeah, just adding on to that, I think that the Bucks aren't gonna let go of their superstar. I mean, this is their franchise player and MVP who's like in the race again, once again. And I think that they're not gonna part ways with Giannis and trade him. I think he's gonna be like an untradeable player for them, and I don't see him leaving a team that has the best chance at the moment to win the championship right now with the best record in the league. And I think the Warriors do have assets that they can put, but I think you're gonna like destroy something that you built so long, like Steph, Clay, Dre. You built all that up over the past few years. You know you've had success with that team, and I think they're not gonna bring Giannis in and like destroy the chemistry that these 3 players, Steph, Clay, Dre, and then Wiggins, and then their top 5 pick. I don't think they're going to destroy that chemistry that they had together in the past few years just to bring in another superstar who is easily one of the best players in the league. But I think when the Warriors merge together, they're an even better team than when they have Giannis on the team, but without Klay Thompson, as Sham said.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually bring up a really quick point. I'm going to say 2 words. I want to see what you guys think of it. You
All
said
right, let's
superstar,
hear it.
first of all, and not trading a superstar. What about Russell Westbrook? Did you guys think about that? Did you ever think in a million years the Thunder would trade Russell Westbrook?
Here's the thing, though. That's the difference, though, because Oklahoma City. The thing is that
They're
they
broken.
lost their franchise the day Kevin Durant left, and like I strongly believe in that because I mean, like here's the thing, when Paul George got traded, you know, I'm gonna go to like I like Oklahoma City. I'm a Thunder fan. You know, I support them. I knew that as a fan, when we lost KD, we never got out of the first round since then of the playoffs. And once we traded Paul George to the Clippers, I was like, as a fan, I was like, no way. I'm not seeing Russell Westbrook do this again. He deserves better. So I knew that that trade was imminent. I felt like it was going to happen. I would say, like, I was surprised that it actually happened, but at the same time, I was like, it was probably going to happen. You know, Russell Westbrook was not going to put up with another year of that. And the thing is that we've seen the NBA, there have been crazy moves. Like, come on, like, we're watching this Michael Jordan documentary. Like, he retired, for God's sake, and then he came back. And then on the contrary, you know, you get LeBron in the modern era. You know, he leaves Cleveland, goes to Miami, wins a couple chips, comes back to Cleveland, wins a chip, and boom, leaves again. So you can't. I don't believe that it's anything to do with loyalty or anything. That doesn't discredit LeBron's loyalty. Everyone in Cleveland still loves him. I'm sure Miami still has a soft spot for him, no matter what. But the thing is that with the way that free agency is going, like anything can happen in the NBA. Like Kevin Durant leaves, it's normal. Kyrie leaves, it's normal. In the NFL, we're seeing this happen too with Odell Beckham getting traded. Aaron Rodgers now, there's talk about him leaving the Packers. So there's all sorts of things that'll happen that it's not gonna surprise me if the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks are gonna let go of Giannis. It's more like if the right opportunity presents itself, they will let go of Giannis because
Yeah,
you know, like it's never in your right mind that you're gonna like go Giannis. Because I agree with Anisha's point slightly, where he did say, "Hey, this is Giannis we're talking about." I absolutely agree with that. But at the same time, like, what would you do if the Warriors come knocking on your door with like 2 first-round picks, potentially Andrew Wiggins and Klay Thompson or something, and like a deal that would include Giannis and another star player or a draft pick? You know, it's tough to pass up on that.
I mean, to answer that, Giannis is 25 years old. Like Russell Westbrook was 30 or 31 when they traded him. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
I
good
had
point.
a huge future. Like, I mean, Westbrook is. He's. I mean, I could say he's still good. Like, he's still a superstar, but like he isn't on the same level as Giannis. I mean, this is Giannis we're talking about. Like Anish said, this is Giannis we're talking about.
Yeah,
He's the future face of the NBA. Like, this guy is amazing. He can. If he starts consistently shooting the 3-point ball well, he will become the best player in the NBA. Like, he'll become crazy good. And the thing is,
That's true.
if you're gonna trade Giannis for like Klay Thompson is also 31. Like, if you're gonna trade Giannis, you should get like a look at what the Thunder got from Russell Westbrook and like all the other trades. They have like how many? Like they have like what 6 first-round picks.
yeah, like a
Yeah,
sixth
yeah,
grader or
they're
something.
building for the future. Yeah,
They're set up for the future exactly.
Yeah,
So
they
like I mean,
basically
unless you
traded a sixth grader for Russell Westbrook.
get yeah, I mean, unless you get that for Giannis, then I don't think the Bucks are gonna budge. Like I mean, the Andrew Wiggins, Giannis, like come on, Andrew Wiggins really.
Yeah,
Unless you have a firm conviction that he's gonna develop, I doubt it's gonna happen.
yeah. So Andrew Wiggins, the reason I chose him and not like Klay Thompson is because he is also, I think, 26 or something. He's pretty young too. So I think it's fair the trade I made, but I think at the same time you guys are right that Giannis is a superstar and anything can happen in this league.
yeah. Like honestly, I still agree with that because like at the end of the day, the NBA, NFL, MLB, whatever you want to say, like all these leagues, at the end of the day, they're a business, and tough decisions are made. And the thing is that with Giannis entering his final season, like under contract, and if the Bucks just can't reach a long-term deal and that trade deadline is looming, like I'd rather get value for Giannis um, rather than just let him walk in free agency for breaks basically nothing.
Yeah, with all
Yeah.
this talk about the Warriors, this brings me to my next fact or fiction. I think that the Golden State Warriors will win another championship in the next 5 years.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's a fair point. I mean, what do you guys think, AJ and Sujal?
Anish, why'd you say that?
I
What's your reasoning first? Because I think we can get into it, but why do you believe that they can win another championship?
I mean, you're just looking at the pieces they had before the Kevin Durant trade and right now. And I think when you look at the pieces, they have a lot of young guys who have had a whole season to basically develop and gain some leadership and be mentored by all these players that are injured. I mean, Draymond, Clay, Steph, they're all injured and they're mentoring these players every day of their season. I mean, you have guys from the G League who are starting for the Warriors. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that for the Warriors. They're developing their young players and they have their core Steph, Clay, Dre, and another top 5 pick. I mean, you're bringing in a guy like James Wiseman who can be their starting center for the future. And then you have basically an amazing starting 5 with Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond, and Wiseman. And I think that's basically gonna be able to prevent the Lakers or the Clippers from getting an edge on them. And I think they have better shooting than the Lakers, and they have a pretty good amount of size for the Lakers and Clippers. So I think they could be an amazing team in the next 5 years and bring back the glory they had in the past.
Yeah, so I actually totally agree with that, what you said about the young players. I do see bright young spots on that team in Jordan Poole, Kai Bowman, Eric Pascal, and Marquise Chris. They all stepped up, obviously, without the veteran guidance of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But at the same time, I think the Warriors need another superstar. Could be Giannis,
Yeah.
could be someone else, but I think they need that other big piece like KD to really get the ball rolling.
Yeah,
Well, I
especially in
agree with
the
you.
West. Yeah.
You got a
No,
point.
sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, a superstar maybe, but remember they still got that 17 mil trade exception from Andre Iguodala. They can bring in like I've seen like so many theories. Oh, Marcus Smart to the Warriors, potentially Miles Turner or someone like that. I don't think a superstar is necessarily not in like terms
Well,
of like
I mean, superstar is a word I'll use freely, but I think Miles Turner would be a great
exactly,
player
yeah.
for this team. That's a good
Yeah.
trade.
And the thing
Marcus
is, they
Smart,
can
not so
trade
much.
down.
Yeah, obviously.
They really don't need James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball. Those are not like Zion Williamson type picks. Like you get like there's like a lot of debate going on. Like, are they actually like worth number 1 picks? I mean, this draft class is really really weak. So let's just say the Warriors end up with like a number 1 pick, and like someone like the Knicks or potentially like some other bad team, the Timberwolves, they want to trade up for the guy that they want. The Warriors can easily trade down, pile up more assets, and they'll help them build up the team. So I think they're in pretty good shape for the future.
Yeah, so like actually what
Yeah.
you said, I said this earlier. They do have potentially 2 first-round picks, and honestly, this could be the first pick and the 4th pick. That's the best case scenario because the Minnesota one is a top 3 protected. So if Minnesota doesn't get top 3 pick, that's the Warriors pick. So they could easily get the first overall pick
Exactly.
and the 4th overall pick, and that's going to be amazing
Exactly.
for the Warriors.
And that's so. Here's the thing that going off all these points, like I think like we all agree on some level with Anisha's statement that you really can't count out the Warriors. Like we can't discredit them. They still arguably have the best point guard of the game. Klay Thompson is to me one of the more underrated number 2s in the league. But what really popped out to me though was that like on the Fanalyst on April 28th, I reported that an Western Conference GM said quote unquote, he said they're not going to be as good as the Lakers or the Clippers in the next few years. And I don't know about that. Like I kind of disagree with that statement because people are just sleeping on this team. I understand, the Clippers have a phenomenal 1-2 punch with Paul George and Kawhi, and then like you get Patrick Beverly and Lou Williams' great supporting cast. The Lakers, I don't know too much about. This is not my bold take, but I just think that Anthony Davis is a little bit like more of the heart and soul of the team than LeBron is, because we saw what LeBron did in year 1 with LA. He put up the numbers, but it wasn't enough to make the playoffs. He needed that second guy. So I feel like with the Warriors though, they don't again need a crazy like third player like Kevin Durant. But again, off what Sujal was saying, and of course AJ was agreeing with that, a guy like Miles Turner could be an option. And when we're also hearing all this talk about them possibly trading their lottery pick to another team for assets, or like maybe including that lottery pick in Andrew Wiggins on AJ's previous take that he said about trading for a Giannis Antetokounmpo possibly, like all of that should be taken into account. And in the next 5 years, it's very doable. But I'm going to one up you on there, and I'm going to say that I think it could be in the next 3 years is their true window.
But yeah, speaking of the Warriors, here's my bold take. the 2016-17 Warriors, so that's KD's first year with the Warriors, would they beat the 95-96 Bulls, the 72 and 10?
No,
Yes.
no,
Fiction, fiction,
no.
Yes.
fiction, fiction,
Yes.
fiction.
Oh my
False, false,
God.
false, false, false.
I
Terrible.
hate this take. I hate this take. I think
You
I
can't.
think we're in for a very heated discussion right now. Okay. Like here I'm just gonna go after. I'm very heated right now. So the 95-96 Bulls, we all four of us on this call, we never watched them. Or we never watched them. We
Yeah,
can't really
highlights, but
say
not like the real.
exactly, but you know what I'm saying. Like we never like
Yeah.
lived in that same era. Like we've grown up watching the Warriors, and I'm gonna say, yeah, the Warriors are by far one of the most talented teams I have ever watched in pro sports. But here's where I don't agree with you. You're saying is Katie's first year and beat the 95-96 Bulls? I don't think so because MJ was experienced. The Bulls knew him. He was a household name there, and it's the Bulls that we're talking about. This was when they were going for that sixth chip. The Warriors, on the contrary, yes, they're coming off that 73-9 season, but just because they got KD, on paper they were more talented, doesn't mean their record translates to that. I feel that KD in his first year, they dominated, like their finals was the Western Conference. Their finals was the Western Conference because when they came, Cleveland was nothing compared to the teams that they played in the West, but like in those playoffs in the Western Conference. So I feel that once they got through the Western Conference, the finals was an easy trip for them. On the contrary, the Bulls, even though those 95-96 finals, I believe I think that was against Utah. And the thing is that on the way there, though, they played against they had to deal with like the Pistons and the Pacers and like all these teams. So like right now, the narrative is that the Eastern Conference is not tough. The Western Conference is. And back then, I felt like it was pretty even. The NBA was way more physical. And I just feel that that's just not how it's going to translate today's game.
Yeah, so one quick point. You did say it was against the Utah Jazz. It was against the Supersonics. That's a quick fix.
My bad.
But it's
yeah.
fine. So one thing about that series, it was 4-2 Chicago. I think the Warriors swept the Cavs 2016. I'm pretty sure. And by the way, that was the year.
I don't think they swept.
Was it 4-1? It was
5,
They
right?
won 4-1.
They might have won in 5. Okay, so
Yeah, it was in 5. Yeah.
But anyways, it was much easier for them. Like you said, the Western Conference Finals was their NBA Finals because that
Right.
was a Cavs team with no Kyrie. So I actually think the Chicago Bulls team, to compare them to the Warriors team, just because the Warriors were killing people in the playoffs, is completely unfair. Because this Bulls team, also in their Eastern Finals, swept the Magic, and I think this was Shaquille O'Neal's Magic at the time.
Yeah.
So that's a good team. And one other thing, and if you want to say like, oh, these guys are playing 5-on-5, I think it's going to be a close game, but I do think that the Warriors would be too dependent on their outside scoring, and the Bulls have 3 solid perimeter defenders in Jordan.
Let's not
Pippen,
forget
and Rodman.
Dennis Rodman, dude.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman is a great defender.
Sheesh.
And I think if you take away their outside scoring, it's done. There's no, because the Bulls have shown they can score from outside inside, but the Warriors were like, oh, three-pointer. Let's just throw up three-pointers.
Yeah.
And I think it was
I get what you're saying, AJ. Like, I agree with you. But, again, Kevin Durant in today's game, I think he has the best mid-range. But you know who has the best mid-range of all time? It's MJ.
Michael
MJ.
Jordan.
It's MJ. So you fight mid-range with mid-range. And, I mean, we saw it in the doc, dude. Like, we saw it happen. Like, you don't piss off Michael Jordan. And when, he will beat your ass. It's that simple.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have to disagree. I have the 2016-2017 Warriors on top of the 95-96 Bulls. And I think it's just because when you look at them and you match up the players, I have Pippen as the point guard against Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry has the shooting edge, but Pippen has the defensive edge. And then I think Klay Thompson is better than their shooting guard who they had. And then their Michael Jordan. I think that Michael Jordan, obviously the best player on the court when they play, but I think the Warriors have that edge in size and versatility to actually shoot more, and they have better shooting players. Their number 4, Draymond Green, he can shoot the 3 as well. I mean, you're moving into different eras where the 3 ball is becoming more effective in today's game, and I think back then you have Rodman, who is really good in the paint, but also a defensive stud. But I think when you look at the Warriors and their ability to basically spread out and basically have all 4 players be able to shoot the rock super well. I think that that's really unique, and I think that no other team matches their ability to match up with them and be able to have all their players basically on their roster be able to shoot their rock as well as they can.
Right. Okay. I mean, I see where you're coming from because, again, once again, on paper, they look amazing. But it's tough for me to get on board with this because honestly, like looking at these playoffs, I'm not going to discredit the Warriors, but they swept everyone until the finals. The finals they won it in 5-2, but they swept every team. So yes, I see the dominance. I love it. But the thing is that I feel like the Warriors, like more than their dominance, they took that fun out of it, I feel, compared to the Bulls. Like in the game. Like you knew that the Warriors were kind of gonna win. That's that like that and I feel like the Bulls, when we're comparing these two teams, like let's be honest. We all agree here that any modern day team, if we match them up against the Warriors with KD, like they don't stand a chance. But there is a reason why we're talking about the Bulls here. Because we believe that they will give a fight, at least. And I think that they'll win, but that's just how I feel about that.
I just want to add one thing. You can match up. You could say like Pippen on Curry, Jordan, and like you have they have 3 great defensive stars. The thing is, you had the Curry and Draymond Green pick and roll. We saw this in the finals last year. That tortured people. Like you do not get past that. A pick and roll with Draymond Green, so either Steph can dump it off to Draymond Green, he'll drive someone open on the corner, and the Warriors are filled with 3-point shooters. That's gonna torch the Bulls every single time. So one of the 4 stars on the Warriors, they are. And then when you talk about the bench, you have proven veterans Iguodala and Livingston, and the Bulls bench, Steve Kerr, yeah, but like other than that, their bench does not match up.
I mean, they had Kukoc too, right, at the time. Or Kukoc was
like, is
gone
their bench?
then.
Their bench is not comparable to the Warriors. That Warriors bench was like amazing. It was like it was one of the best. It was one. I'm not gonna say in NBA history, but like it was a really
right. Yeah, like
depth help.
sure. So yeah, the Warriors' second unit would have an advantage over the Bulls. And then the thing is that you always had the minutes were always had Clay at the beginning of the second quarter. Curry played the entire first quarter. Steve Kerr was really smart with his pairings. He always put the people together. Like Steph and Draymond always play together because they can use that pick and roll. So I feel like the Warriors do have an advantage. I'm going to go with the Warriors on this one.
Yeah, so I'm going to add a quick thing. Watching the Last Dance documentary, I don't care how many people the Warriors have. I think Michael Jordan could guard 5 players at once. So that leaves the rest of the 4 Bulls. So I think we don't need
to argue. He was basically God.
MJ is God, and that's it.
Yeah. All right. So, we love talking about KD and all this. So how about I put one out there for you guys? KD and Kyrie, they will dominate the East and win at least 2 rings together before their stints end in Brooklyn.
You're saying 2 rings in as long as they're there?
Yeah, so, like as teammates, they'll win 2 together.
So you're thinking like 5 years, 10 years? How long do you actually think that's going to
last? I doubt that.
It's not going to be.
That team's not lasting. Come on, there's way too much friction there. You got KD and Kyrie. I mean, like, the locker room, oh, God.
Thinking about that. Here's the thing.
There's no coach.
I think that – that's a good point. But here's the thing. KD, he has something to prove here. There's something – I think Kyrie also has something to prove. These 2 guys, they were looked at as secondary, second guys in their championship wins. Like with Cleveland, once they, when they came out, they overcame that 3-1 deficit. Everyone was like, the story was LeBron. Came back to Cleveland, he won the championship. Tears, the front newspaper, everything was just tears of LeBron, all this and that. I'm sure Kyrie did get the media that he deserved, but I felt like it wasn't there as much as it was there for LeBron. Same thing with KD and the Warriors. The narrative has always been Steph's team. Don't get me wrong. I'm never gonna go out on a spur and say KD deserved the spotlight there, because when you come to the Warriors, you need to realize you're stepping in Steph's spotlight. You're stepping in Clay's spotlight. Draymond's even a household name here. So I feel KD and Kyrie, they both never really got that true deserved love that they needed in their respective championship cities. And going to Brooklyn gives that city life, because Brooklyn, their only recent guy, like in recent history rather, that you could say has been like impactful was D'Angelo Russell, and that was only for a season. So I feel like these two guys, they both got something to prove, and teaming up will only make both of them better. And I think that KD is the best player, barring that if, Giannis, if he gets a 3-point shot down, I could see him overtaking KD as the most talented guy right now. But I think KD, when he's healthy, can do damage. And that in the Eastern Conference especially, I feel that the Sixers, they come so close yet so far, and then we don't know what's going to happen with the Bucks. So that's just where I stand with it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, you do have a point. He is the best player when healthy, but like that's the problem. When healthy, this is an ACL injury. I mean, this is like the most serious.
Achilles.
Yeah, my bad. Ruptured Achilles. This is one of the most serious injuries in sports. So will he ever be the same? And Kyrie, obviously, so many injuries throughout the season. And those injuries were not as serious as an Achilles, but still injuries nonetheless. And the supporting cast, sure, they have like guys like Jared Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie. There's also been rumors that they might go and get Bradley Beal, but then if they get Bradley,
Right.
the rest of their team is going to be surrounded
There's no
by
money.
no money. They trade a lot of their supporting cast. So is there supporting cast to win the finals? And this is the Eastern Conference we're talking about. There are some good teams in there. You have like the obviously if Giannis stays, Raptors, the Sixers. They have the talent. They'll be dangerous.
But here's the thing: do they I hear you, but do they have the talent to take them into 7 and beat them, or
No.
even beat them before 7? That's the thing. That's what I have trouble with, because I'm I don't think. All right, here's the thing. You brought up a good point about the Achilles with KD, but where I one up you is, I think KD is confident that he's going to come back. The reason I believe that is that when you get injured, especially like an Achilles injury, it's very serious.
Right.
He could have stayed in Golden State, and he could have gotten a 200-some million max extension, super max extension. So if you're injured, if you're injured, why not take the money and stay? Because you don't know because the guaranteed money is very appealing to stay. You know what? Because you're like, I don't know if I'm going to return as the same player. Let me take the money I can get, while whatever
Also,
recovery time I need.
He had
But
his feud
here's
with
what
Draymond.
Exactly. Okay, yeah. No, that's the thing. I definitely think that played a role, but I'm talking about just contract numbers and him betting on himself.
Okay.
So when he went to Brooklyn, though, right? I believe that it was 180 million or something like that could have been the deal, but apparently he took a $20 million pay cut from there, and he's taking 164 million. So why take that pay cut on top of that? Because I felt like that was a reason that played a role into getting Kyrie to Brooklyn, that he was also like, hey, I can return. I'm going to bet on myself.
Yeah, so I think you're too focused on the Eastern Conference aspect of things, because your claim is that they're going to get rings, and that's against the West. So in my opinion, KD is 32 next season, and I think he only has 5 to 7 years left or something. So not a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't see any Western team, like those big Western teams that we have right now, going, like all of them. Let's say Clippers, Lakers, who else? Even the Warriors are also up there because they have a young core. These teams, I don't see all of them declining in the next few seasons. And I also think a young team in the East, like the Hawks, who's not doing great right now, they're, I think, 13th in the East or something. With Trae Young, they have John Collins. They're a young team. I think they'll give them trouble in the future. And I do think the Nets could win another ring, or maybe not 2 rings, maybe 1 ring, but I think they still need another superstar. So like Bradley Beal would be great, but then you're losing your bench depth, and that's a problem if someone gets injured.
AJ, I'm actually thinking you're sleeping on KD. I mean, obviously before the injury, he was one of the top players. He's dropping 50 on the Clippers every night. And then now he ruptured his Achilles, but then you're not thinking about what happens if he didn't rupture his Achilles. I mean, the Warriors would have won that championship most likely if he came back. And then
not most likely.
Yeah,
he would have
won, but then he wouldn't have left Golden State.
I don't know that. No, because
Yeah,
here's the thing, AJ, you brought up the point earlier too about the Draymond feud. That still is there. That doesn't change the
Oh,
past.
that would, yeah, I agree. Actually, I forgot about
So
that. That's fair.
He's leaving no matter what. I think they'll mind
And
like halfway through.
they couldn't pay him and Klay Thompson. There was no money for that, right? You can't sign 4 players to supermax extensions. That's
oh
crazy.
no, it wasn't about that. I just felt like, if you let Draymond go though, there is a chance, sign like whatever, a 2-year deal. They could have gone back for another one, definitely.
I don't know. I think he was too mad at Draymond, and Draymond didn't want him there. And Draymond is the original, and
Yeah.
even the Warriors
He
value
means a
loyalty.
lot. Yep.
Yeah, he's their
Definitely.
team spirit basically. Even though he kind of lost them the finals in one year against the Cavs because he got suspended and they had no
Right.
interior defense, but he's still the heart of that team defensively. And losing him would be, I'll say this, but much worse than losing KD.
I think-
That's arguable. All right.
I think bringing up another point, I think you guys are also sleeping on the 1-2 punch of KD and Kyrie.
Exactly.
KD is arguably the best shooter in the league. I mean, he has that soft mid-range that no one else has in the
What?
game today.
Best shooter?
Yeah.
KD best shooter. Are you kidding
Best-
me?
I don't know.
Oh,
Okay.
come on.
Okay.
Okay.
Anish,
No,
Hold on.
I don't.
Anish, I love that you're supporting me, but best shooter's a little bit far-fetched. I like what you brought up the mid-range though. I think okay guys, I think Anish, what he's trying to say is that he's the best mid-range shooter.
Okay, that makes more sense.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
But not
and
best
then-
shooter, but yeah.
And then like Kyrie, I mean, he dropped 50 like almost every night when he was playing for the Nets in the beginning of the season.
When he was the only player on the Nets.
And they both need the ball. The Warriors team, Draymond does not need the ball. Clay does not need the ball. Steph does not need the ball. Kyrie
KD
and
needs the
KD
ball half the time.
need the ball. That's not going to work. And if you're going to bring in a guy like Bradley Beal, they're
That's not gonna.
not going to coexist. Like
I
that
feel
Warriors
like-
team
Yeah.
was
sorry,
like
continue.
built. The Warriors team was like built to perfection because like none of the guys need the ball. You could just throw it up to KD. People start running around, and he'll just find an open guy. They shoot it, and then that's how the game works. But you could have a Kyrie KD pick and roll, but is that going to work every single time? Are you going to do that play every single time?
Here's
That's
the thing.
the question.
See, you're talking about there's only one basketball, it's not going to work. We all kind of said that too when KD came over to the Warriors. You had Steph, you had Clay, and now you get KD. There is only one basketball. They still made it work. I believe that KD and Kyrie, it's more of a mental battle than them on the court. If they can figure themselves out, and I think that this year really, really helps them. Just both of them, they both have been scrutinized by the media a lot. And I think that right now, with both of them just sitting out, because they are injured, of course, but I think them sitting out, they're watching the game. And they're kind of calling the shots. They're like, all right, here's what's going to happen type of thing. And I think that people are really, really sleeping on them because, in the long run, I think these two guys are going to really give the league a rude awakening, just like the Warriors are, as people are sleeping on them as well.